Hello, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for joining the session.
Hello, Mohammed. I'm so happy to be here.
Uh,
And
it's
thanks
it's
for having
it's my pleasure. So basically, Emmanuel, the main reason of having these sessions is to get as much knowledge from industry professionals and try to understand from where did they started and what's the right way to moving forward. So before we start the session, I'll be happy if you can introduce to the audience how's life, how's everything, how's work, and then we'll start the conversation.
nice, nice. So, my name is Emanuel. I'm from Brazil. I'm working with motion design since uh, 28. So it's been like 7 years working when I start studying motion design for real. And there's 4 years that I'm working specifically with only with motion design. So and right now I'm working at IBM as a motion designer, helping the Blue Studio. It's the internal agency, the internal studio of IBM, and we are focusing on social media. So what I do is basically some templates for the social media team use, and also some assets when we need a little bit more of glance. So it's uh, pretty much how
Perfect,
things
perfect,
going.
perfect, perfect, perfect. So before we discuss about the overall career pathway, so how this motion design thing started, like why do you think that you wanted to become a motion designer? Because sometimes people usually think that being in a creative field is basically how passionate you are about, because to be very honest, the ladder is not the same in motion design. It's not like a business school where you study something and
Yeah,
then you started off with your first job and moving forward. In motion design is
yeah,
basically more about exploring. It's all about understanding the field, because at the end of the day, now we are in 2025. Yes, we got a lot of assets from YouTube, we got a lot of tutorials, we have a lot of websites to learn from that. But back in the days, if we talk about in 2015, 2016, we don't have these much resources. So why do you pick motion design as a field, and what was the main reason of starting into that field? Why don't you
mm.
become a designer rather than a motion designer?
Yeah, I think it started when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I want to be a movie director because I discovered that films doesn't exist; they were made. So, oh, if someone made this stuff, I want to make this stuff. So it was, just a child dream. And when I in my school we had the opportunity to make some works and projects in video. So instead of doing seminars, I asked the teachers if I could present as a video, and they let. So I start to record video with my friends from school and editing them, especially for school projects. But then I I started my YouTube channel as well when I was teenager, because it was the thing in the moment. So a lot of buzz around being a YouTuber and stuff. And it's all how I start to editing stuff. And I was already decently good at editing, and I tried to make some stuff on After Effects. And then I moved to the college where I study audiovisual production, and it was a short course. It was only 2 years, and I was trying to be open-minded, to not rely just on the post-production, but it was the thing I most identify myself, because being on set and recording stuff is so stressful. And you know and I was starting to realize that working with movies here in Brazil, it's quite difficult. You need to have a lot of money, and I doesn't definitely doesn't have that amount. So to bank production, and even with some laws we have here that you can get public sponsorship, it's quite hard. So people, it's like a guerrilla to make
Perfect.
a
So
whole
basically,
series.
it's not something like that. One day you thought of it to become a motion designer. You dream about it and you work with it and you try to understand the overall of dynamics of that.
Yeah, quite often. I was more interested in work, doing movies, and the motion design starts. I saw, motion design course ad. I was working at in an internship as a WordPress designer. That was great because it also helped me to develop, a design view of stuff, because otherwise I didn't had it. Beside, playing with Photoshop when I was teenager, make memes, this kind of stuff, when I was younger. But then I realized, oh, I think this is the kind of thing that I can realize myself, and doing what I want, work with creativity from the scratch to end, and make a full piece by myself. And also it's profitable. I can really work with this. It's easier work with this than going to Hollywood. That that would be way harder.
Hmm.
So that's how it's um, started to me. And at first it was just a secondary skill, because my main skill, it was video editing and stuff, and motion design, it was just uh, a small thing. And then I was trying to relay myself more and more into motion design. It took years to finally get it, but in my internship was in 28. It was my first job at all. And there I start to study motion design to complement my video editing skills. And my first full motion design job, that I all I need to do is animation, and I didn't need to design at all, because it was a design studio. So everybody there was a better design than me, so they don't need my design skills. It was in 2021. So in 2020, so it was like 3 years work. Some people does this curve, and start animating really well faster than it. But in my case, it was like that, and I was working, improving my design skills, my um, recording skills that I don't want to use at all in any other moment of my life. I hate it. And my motion design skills, my animation skills as well, until I can specialize and do only motion design.
Perfect. Moving forward, there's another big topic that is very important in the motion design field is um, it's about the portfolio management, right? A lot of time being as a motion designer, because you need to understand every motion designer is different from one another. You can be a motion
Hmm.
designer and doing advertisement. You can be a motion designer doing SaaS products animation, and you can be a motion designer doing animation for anything else.
Yeah.
How do you think what's the main, like how important is to have a good portfolio and a diverse portfolio? Because sometimes what I see is people usually have difficulties because they are working in one field. Because if I give you an idea, nowadays if I open my LinkedIn, I see SaaS products. A lot of motion
Hmm.
designers are doing sorry, a lot of motion designers are doing SaaS products animation, because yes,
Hmm.
they know that now AI is taking care of a lot of things. People are making products, so people know some people need someone who can animate their products, and this is how you grow yourself. But what do you think, what's the right way to do it? Like, are you using any specific platform that you think is good? Because a lot of time people reach out to me, and this is I wanted to know because how it works in your side of the world and my side of the world is because sometimes people reach out to me and they have their portfolio in Google Drive. I personally
Mm,
believe that Google Drive is not the right way moving forward. If you are a motion designer, you should use at least Vimeo, YouTube, these platforms because these are international standards. Like,
yeah.
because it's also important what platform you are using to showcase your work. If it's a video platform and if you're showcasing a video work, that it would be much better to have a much better experience. But as far as your experience, what do you think? How important is to manage your portfolio? How are you doing it? And what any tips and tricks that you wanted to share to the audience?
Yeah. I I think it worth to be. I have a fun story with it. Personally, what I bring it to me. In my case, I try to be quite obsessive with my portfolio.
Mm,
Right now, it's totally outdated. So I think it's all from 2023. Not stuff that I did in the past year isn't there, and what I did this year, and we are already in October, so I didn't update at all. But I'm a full time job right now, so and I'm trying to figure out the next steps. So I try to understand what I want to showcase, what kind of client I want to showcase, because portfolio is that it's how do you sell yourself. So when I first started, it was I was working in a design studio that does basically branding, and I start to freelance to they freelancers because they're freelancers having project and they wanted motion design into it, and it was more profitable to me to work to their freelancers, and that's what when I moved to freelance and start freelance. So and I was only focused on branding projects, and I there's other stuff that I really like really like to do at this time, like illustrations and crazy stuff. But as I want to get more, branding studios, design studios reaching to me, I focus only on branding stuff. To okay, that's what I do. I think a good portfolio is that. That's my name. That's what I do. And no, nobody gonna read two paragraphs in your portfolio. So uh, unless you already they already get what you want. Right now, I'm pivoting it. I am gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna do another stuff or anything else. I'm trying to figure out the next steps, but it's basically try to understand what I want to do, and you show it in your portfolio because it's gonna make it easier. If you don't like to make some stuff, don't put in your portfolio at all, because there's demand for much stuff. So there's plenty of people around the world that does everything. So just pick what you want to do, and those the other demands will come to it, I think. So I think that's important because you manage your portfolio with reason will help you to get where you want and what you want more, and I think you're gonna be happier
fair enough, fair enough. So,
working.
it's also important. I totally get your point that you are saying that it's important to have a portfolio, but you should know what to sell. Like, you maybe you're doing like thousand things, but you don't put everything on your portfolio. This is the same thought
Yeah.
process that I have in mind. Is there are some projects that really close to your heart and you wanted to showcase to the audience. What I personally believe,
Mhm.
portfolio is something when you wanted to showcase your different side to the world, because I do multiple things for different projects, but you can't showcase to everyone. Like, and also what I personally believe, you should have a specific zone. For example, if you wanted to do a SaaS products, you should do it, and you do it very good. So you know everything, because sometimes after a while, when you're doing for a specific animation, you have multiple presets available for that, so you can do it much faster. And I personally believe people usually do, like, for example, they think, okay, fine, now everyone is doing SaaS products, let's do SaaS products. And they don't do it good. And some other day people are doing something else and they jump into that thing. Only
Mhm.
showcase those things that you think you are very good at it, and that give you an overall idea. What I think is to become uh, brilliant in one thing. So for example, if you think you are doing an advertisement motion design, showcase that.
Mhm.
So maybe
Mm. Yeah.
there are a lot of people who wanted those things, and they can give a shout out to your shout out to for that services. Also, you're totally right, because early stages we are all hunger for work, so we are managing our portfolios and all. But after, when you're working for big companies, big clients, big agencies, you need to focus on the growth, overall growth. Like, for example, what's my input in the specific field, because it's not only about designing or motion designing thing, it's also about problem solving. You need to understand, it's
Yeah.
like meeting the deadlines is more important than creatively doing
Yeah.
something, because it's not like
Mhm.
everything is going on the billboard or everything is going on the national television. Maybe the purpose is totally different. Sometimes you are doing advertisement for social media or sending social media campaign, or in something, maybe something for the website, or maybe it's on like
Mhm.
third or fourth page. People usually don't see it on the first place, but you need to understand what output your thing is going to be on for the brand, like how much time you're investing and what's the outcome for that thing. Moving forward,
Totally.
the next thing that I wanted to discuss is, I personally believe, being a motion designer, you need to also becoming a salesman as well, because you wanted to sell your imagination to someone. What I personally
Mhm.
believe throughout my overall experience, that I also believe, is that sometimes you imagine something in a certain way, and you don't know how
Mhm.
to upsell that thing.
Mhm.
You don't know how to share that idea, because not everyone is a motion designer. Not everyone seeing a motion frame as a motion design. Not everyone seeing a still frame how it's going to be animated. So
Mhm.
also what I see is, nowadays people, specifically motion designers and animators, they're like uh, uploading stuff. They are showcasing their stuff on LinkedIn, so people understand what's the right dynamics for it. So what do you think about, like, how you sell your stuff? Do you think LinkedIn is a very good platform? Because after corona, we see a lot of creative professionals coming on this platform as well. It's not only
Yeah.
about Vimeo anymore, it's not only about ArtStation, it's also about the LinkedIn, because we need to understand, it's not only about working for a company, it's also to make yourself a personal brand. People don't remember you. Okay, fine, you work in IBM. No, people need to understand that Emmanuel is someone who is working for IBM and other brands as well. And you need to sell yourself, you need to showcase like your learning and everything. So how do you think, like, selling yourself on LinkedIn gives a edge? Do you think it's a good thing, people should do it as a creative professional, as a motion designer?
Yeah, that's fun because I think it's hard to get a rule that will work for everybody, because I have some friends of mine that are excellent, excellent. I totally envy their skills, and they don't have a website. Their portfolio is their Instagram page, and all the great clients, the great studios that they work at come from Instagram. In my case, my Instagram didn't have nothing to me. I just get one good client at Instagram, just one. Another fun story, at IBM some time ago, we hired someone that um, their portfolio were a PDF in a Google Drive.
Okay. Oh shit.
And when I first saw it, I felt, I don't believe that. Don't let move it forward, because I have this, passion about making my website and doing great stuff and etc. And the first impression was not good. But during the interviews, and we decided to move forward with that candidate, they showing up to be, the best in the role for what we were seeking. So we despised someone else that has, an amazing portfolio instead of one that has a PDF inside a Google Drive stuff, and it fits really well. It's good to work with that person. So that's really fun because, yeah, I personally believe, and I want to put my best in my portfolio because I think people don't have time, and it's good to cause a really good impression. And that's about how you sell yourself. If there's an advocate for that candidate in our table, because it was the only person that seek at that PDF and uh, show up some generosity to it. But sometimes, and I don't know how many times in the proportion, but many times won't be that generous person at at the table. So it's best for you to uh, get rid of yourself, wear a good shirt, have a good portfolio and stuff, showing up good, and to and LinkedIn, in my case, everything good that happened in my career happened because of LinkedIn. So I'm suspicious to talk about it. So, and I was trying to post 1 week, yeah, on 1 week, well, so 2 times a month, just and it already helped me to grow my network. It already helped me to get clients and leads weekly, even not posting, every single day or every single week. Uh, it was really, really good to me. And I think, yes, you need to be a salesman. I like to be a salesman, but some people just like to draw and just like to,
Hmm.
design. And you don't need to, say yourself too much in a way to, oh, I solved that problem and that stuff, and make a case study and stuff. Sometimes just show your work weekly. And the good part about LinkedIn is, unlike Instagram, people won't see if you repeat your post because it's hidden, the things you were post. So you can, repeat sometimes. I never did that because but I crazy. You don't need to trust me in that point, because I know it's just the voice in my head that say, somebody will notice that you repeated the post. But when I see a repeated post, I don't have a bad impression at all. That's, just thinking in my head that doesn't make sense, and a rule that I, I personally try to follow, but it doesn't work. You can repeat your post on LinkedIn, just show up how good you are at drawing, doing stuff. That's already being a salesman. You don't need to be too silly and, using jargons and corporative words and stuff, because the person that will hire someone that's really, really good at technique, and, it's quite obsessive at it, would be a studio, would be someone else in that want to have that level of skill, that level of expertise with them. So that's a easy way to sell yourself. That's just, oh, I did this, oh, I did that, oh, I did someone else. Or you can be more selling and try to understand the needs of other people, in a company and stuff, because in that case you're gonna reach just, studios and creatives. You're already reaching their necessity. That's, oh, this look to be a trustable person that have great skills. That's basically, you're already selling yourself just to doing it. But if you want direct clients and work with companies, you need to, use the start using their language, and try to understand how they think stuff, because, that's how you build relationships. Because sales, it's all about relationships and trust. It's about someone say, I trust you and I think you can solve my problem. So it's basically how you're gonna make people have this feeling about you, and think like that about it. That's how I feel.
Fair enough.
The
Because you're totally right that the thing that you just shared is, maybe maybe there is a generous person in the table who can see a PDF and give you a job. But at the end of the day, it's not about like that. Uh, this is maybe one in a million chance that you can have at one time. But you need to understand that LinkedIn, to be very honest, I personally believe sometimes people themselves don't know that they need a motion designer, because sometimes a layman don't understand what's the difference between a video editor and a motion designer.
Mhm.
Selling yourself, as you said, that LinkedIn is not Instagram, and I really like it because people are judging you or people are seeing you in a different way, like they are seeing you on an Instagram. They are more likely to interest like what you're producing. And what I personally believe, doing it on a very specific days, like for example twice a month or maybe twice a week, that gives the idea to, like, you need to understand, like if you are making an animation that takes like a week or a week and a half to make, then you need to understand that you need to sell that thing in that way. You don't have to use chat gpt all the time, that you were saying, because sometimes
Mhm.
people just scrolling, maybe there's a company who needs a motion designers and their HR is just scrolling their LinkedIn and they come up with your profile. A lot of time
Mhm.
that thing happens to me. A HR from XYZ company reach out to me and they were like, we do have an opening in a motion design field and we are looking for this thing. I see your work. I think you're, so you get a lead, you get the first thing for it. because
Mhm.
because sometimes it's not, it's like people usually don't understand what specifically they wanted. They see
Mhm.
some, they see some animation and they're just scrolling for things. Okay, fine, because they don't know exact keywords, no? Like for example, are they looking for a Walmart animation, are they looking for a branding animation, are they looking for a SaaS product animation? So you need to understand that. Also, what I personally believe throughout my experience is sharing the insights are much better than just showcasing things. Because what I personally believe, people are much more interested in knowing what's the outcome for that, like what problem that you solve while making this animation. Like for example, in my case, I back in the days, I make a before and after video, like the work that I did in 2015 or 2010, and then the work that I did in 2023 or 2024, just to showcase the growth. Because sometime when you open your archive folder and go to a video that you did like 10 years ago, and then you realize that how much you learned from it. And also, it's no harm to showcase like from where did you started, because everyone is starting from somewhere else. You can't become, I'm pretty much sure IBM is not something like you graduated the next day you are in IBM. You work for it, and one way lead to another, and then you're in IBM. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the company, it's about your own self learning, it's about your own self growth, like what you're doing it. Because what I personally believe, there is a very big problem in the Asian mindset, like the people who are working in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. They usually wanted to copy things from the people who are living in Europe, Australia, US, Canada. It's not about copying the stuff, it's about understanding how they are selling the problems. I see a lot of pages on YouTube, I see a lot of reels where people are trying to sell the real mindset behind every animation. Like why they wanted to make that. When you crack that code, I think you become much better motion designer, or you
Mhm.
become much better problem solver than a normal person. The last thing
Mhm.
that I have in mind is, Manuel, that I want to talk on is about learning and development. So our field is basically not like a business school. You've done a 4 year graduation and the next day you're just going and doing the Excel sheets. Because to be very honest, someday I'm worried about I sleep and when I wake up and then there's another plugin. I go to different I'm doing something for a couple of years and one day I realize that there's a plugin that can do this thing in like 2 seconds while I'm taking it for like an hour or half an hour to do it. And then they're like always this new AI is coming. We are always
Mhm.
competing this technology of people nowadays reaching out to me like, why we need video editors? We can edit our video. in any AI product program or any AI website. But at the end of the day, you need to understand that the learning and development, the messaging that you are showcasing, because what I personally believe, people who are not learning these AI tools, not learning these AI platforms, they are going to be like people in the past in the coming years, because you need to
Mm-hmm.
learn those things to make your work
Yeah.
much faster. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I was going through a problem. I wanted to have a solution. I wanted to make a script, and I just thought of it. Let's try ChatGPT and try to make a plugin out of it. So I
Mm-hmm.
with zero knowledge of programming, I just go on
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT. I try to explain it and try to learn it, how to install that thing, how to make that thing, how to edit that thing, so that script, that thing work perfectly fine for me. And then I
Mm-hmm.
realize, if you explore something, you can make your life much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want a specific visual that you don't find in on any stock footage, and you go on a AI platform and you can make something out of it. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's a time consuming. Yes, it's not like you just write a prompt, click enter, and get exactly how you want it. But what do you
Mm-hmm.
think? What do you think? Um, how much it's important as a learning and development part in yourself? Do you invest your time in the learning and development, taking different courses, not only courses, because sometimes I personally believe that just scrolling the reels give you more ideas, because
Yeah.
people are making content. So what do you think? What's your suggestion on learning and development?
I'm right now wearing the stuff that is for a motion design conference that I attending. And yesterday we were in a workshop with Margarita. I forget her surname, but she's really good. And she was talking. It was a nice session, and yeah, she was talking about how she used AI. She is more like frame by frame animation, style frames, this kind of stuff. Beautiful work. And it's like I use AI to change the angle of a sketch that I already did, and the perspective I won't do this myself. It's quite hard, and just I draw over it, and to how to make the lightning, the lights more realistic, the shadows, the shading, overall, this kind of stuff. So that that was a really smart way I thought of using AI, because uh, I think people should realize that AI, they are assistants. If you are a creative, you need to learn, actually know what you are doing. Because otherwise, a layman would never do what you did of asking to make a script to make a part of the work easier. He gonna just do this stuff, and the AI can't do this stuff yet. Of just making a full video um, and don't know how to talk about it with AI. So you need to be an expert to talk with AI in the matters of what you are doing and what you want to do. So I about learning and development, I think there's no escape. You need to, if you want to learn something when you are a grown adult, you need to sleep less. There, that's inevitable. I guess that's the feeling I have somehow, because um, sometimes you just can't implement a new stuff in your workflow because it's completely new, and you need that intense work before to start working with it every day, and then it becomes part of your hands. You're already think about with the program. I'm trying to learn Calvary this year and do the immersible, because I was trying to. Almost a week. No, you need to practice every day, sleep less and stuff. That's a trade-off. Unfortunately, I didn't did that. I'm focusing in, more stuff in my personal side. So yeah,
No,
I
you're totally agree. I totally agree with the point that you said. Okay, um, learning new stuff will come up with their own pros and cons. To be very honest,
yeah.
um, um, I'm happy that you just tell that you're learning cavalry as well, because a lot of time people don't know. It will take like 3 4 months to be better in one thing, but when you are good in that thing, you can produce something very good in, as a matter of fact, in few seconds, in few minutes. Because
Hmm.
before that, what I personally believe, people usually think that it's not only about learning. I see learning, it's not only about getting an idea and doing it. It's to get referencing. It's to understand the overall idea, that how people are doing it. It's to also understand like how people are really working on it. So that's the main overall idea that I have in mind, that learning is something that is a curse to all motion designers, that they need to learn every day to make themselves in a very in a better position. So this is totally fine. So I think this is all from my end. We had a very good conversation, Emmanuel, and I really like it. You sharing your thought process, because it's a very different field. It's basically the same field, but the work that we are doing in the Asian side and the work that people are doing
Hmm.
in the other side is totally different. And it's good that the community is the same. People are thinking the same. People have that same thought process. It's just about the hunger of learning things. It's just about the time that you're investing. So I think if you invest more time, if you just invest in the details of it, one way or another, you become the pro in that thing. So I think this
Yeah,
is also one thing.
yeah.
Any tips and tricks, Emmanuel, that you wanted to share to the audience, like as a motion designer or as a normal person, that you wanted to share, that these are the things that you think it's important, that make you grow in your field.
Yeah, I think it's about you need to be wise as well of recognizing the moment of your life, because nothing's permanent, so you have a limited life, you have limited phases of your life, and sometimes it's good to you to woke up later earlier and going to sleep later, and really dedicate yourself, be quite really put yourself to grow. And sometimes not, sometimes you need to take care of your parents, take care of your kids, take care of your wife, your partner, and sometimes you need to take more care of your health. And it's all about so sometimes in this professional talks we neglect other areas, but it's all about imbalance. You're never gonna be fully dedicated to your profession, fully dedicated to your personal life, fully dedicated to your health. You're always gonna be neglecting something, because you have limited 24 hours per day and a limited energy and limited stuff. So it's about doing a bit every day and knowing that you won't be doing something at some point, and you're gonna miss some stuff. So uh, don't be lazy, but also be good at yourself. Don't push you too hard if you are in a moment that you can't um, study 2 hours every day. If you can, okay, that's good, and really put yourself in what you are doing. Like I think uh, that would be my sharing.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for your time. It's my pleasure to have you on this session. I'm pretty much sure a lot of people will learn from it. If anyone wants to reach out to Emmanuel, they can message link on LinkedIn to Emmanuel. Just write a proper message, and I'm pretty much sure Emmanuel will be there to help you as well. So thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for your time.